All right, everybody, good afternoon. It's time for Snap Count Monday. Usually we do this the day after the game, but yeah, few days old now. Regardless, still interesting to look at the snap counts. So let's jump right in. There's definitely some interesting stuff here. Most of it is not going to be good, but I will say this. We're going to start with something that I consider to be a bit of a positive. So 64 total snaps on offense. 64. Just keep that number in mind as we go forward. 64. Ken Walker got 3 quarters, and Travis Homer got the other quarter. So that's a pretty reasonable split, right? You've got 75 to your top guy, and then you've got 25 to the guy behind him. I would say I don't know about completely forgetting about guys like DJ Dallas. You just don't have to do that. DJ Dallas, I know he's not great, but you can put him out there and feel okay about it for a little bit. And Ken Walker coming off an injury, a game where he didn't play at all, going right to 48 snaps. I don't know if that's great. Now, in this game, you didn't give Ken Walker the ball a ton, so it's not like you overworked him, so it's fine. But I don't know if I like the idea of completely getting rid of DJ Dallas just because you get your top two guys in. But yeah, 48 for Walker, 16 for Homer. Okay, wide receiver, what do we got here? DK Metcalf had 61, Lockett had 57, and it probably would have been pretty equal if not for the injury that Lockett got, which is going to probably bench him for the next 2 games. So, unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be moving forward without one of our most well used players, Tyler Lockett, for at least a couple of weeks here. So, it's going to be difficult to replace. As you can see, Goodwin has already become a majority snap holder. 38 snaps, so he's playing well over half of the snaps the last couple games, and that seems to be a trend that we're starting to feel comfortable with. So Goodwin is already playing probably about as many snaps as he can. Last 2 games, he's played a combined 80 almost, and somebody else is going to have to come pick it up. You got Penny Hard, who played 2 snaps in this game, and Derek Young, who played 3. By the way, Derek Young almost made the first catch of his career. Sorry to him that it got called back, but you're not going to get away with guys playing 2 or 3 snaps in this upcoming game because, yeah, you got to replace Lockett. I don't know who it's going to be, but one of these guys needs to step up and be able to do it. If it's Laquan Treadwell, then I guess we're just going to have to live with that. And, I mean, the guy has talent, I guess. It's not a good situation. All right, moving on to tight end here. We use tight ends reasonably often in this game. I would still wonder why Fant isn't getting on the field as much, and to a certain extent, I would say Disley too. Fant was on the field about half the snaps, 33. Disley a little bit more. I feel like in most games this year, we've had our usage a little bit higher than that. I know Disley might be battling through an injury, but he wasn't listed on the injury reports, so I don't think that's bugging him anymore. It's a little bit odd to me that we've gone away from the heavy tight end usage. Not to say we're not using tight ends a lot. Like Colby Parkinson had 25 snaps in this game, which is actually above his usual rate. His usual rate would have been around like a third. He got a little bit more than that in this game. But it does feel like the 3 tight end sets in particular have been tamped down a little bit. And I don't know why. They were working, and with the other issues this team is having, you would think that that would be something that might alleviate some of the stress. Offensive line, there's really nothing to report. Gabe Jackson played more snaps than Phil Haynes by a little bit. Gabe played 36, Haynes played 28, and everyone else played 64. So everything else is fine. Everything else is as expected. We're still getting phenomenal usage out of 2 rookies in Cross and Lucas, and it's been great. Okay, now we go over to the defense, and this is where the interesting stuff kind of comes into play. And of course, we got to start with this defensive line, but first, let's take a look at the total snap count. You'll see it's actually equivalent, 64. So we had the same number of snaps on offense and defense, which, hey, that's good. I like that. I don't like a whole lot else about this game, but at least we didn't stay on the field for an eternity in this game and never get any drives going. No, it wasn't like that. It was a little bit better than that. And credit where credit is due. Now, when you're playing against a quarterback like Brock Purdy, that probably should happen. You probably should be winning the snap count. But with this team, I'll take what I can get because it's pulling teeth for them to win a snap count. Like, they almost never do that. We're working towards it. But anyway, the defensive line, you can see the problem pretty much immediately. There just aren't enough guys. In this game, you had Al Woods. You had Al Woods not play. And then Brian Monet gets injured. I think he ripped his ACL after 5 snaps. You don't have enough guys. And the guys that you do have, with the exception of, I would say, Shelby Harris, are kind of bad. Puna's not bad, but he's bad in this defense. So you get what you can out of it, right? Like Puna Ford plays 45, Shelby Harris plays 42, but it's just not enough. This was Brian Monet's time to shine with Al Woods out. And he goes out after 5 snaps. It's just a killer. Honestly, even though our defense didn't play amazing, I want to give this defensive line some degree of credit for holding up better than I would have thought with no one tech. Like, Puna Ford was the closest, zero tech. Puna Ford is the closest thing you have to a zero tech on this defensive line after Monet goes out. And somehow you don't get murdered on the run, and somehow you're actually able to keep the game somewhat competitive. So you squeeze 34 snaps out of Quentin Jefferson, 25 out of Collier, 17 out of Adams, and it's just not enough. And on top of that, not only is it not enough, but the guys that you have are not even very good. Like, Al Woods was one of your best defensive linemen, and he's not even playing. So, big problem here, very obvious. Edge rusher got a little bit better on the one hand. Nwosu's still playing too much, but that might be an insurmountable problem this year. Like, Nwosu might just have to play 50, 60 snaps a game, and it is what it is, because we don't have anybody else, which is unfortunate. You don't want edge rushers playing that much, but maybe we're stuck. But the good news is, Mafe did play a little bit more. He got up to 23 snaps, which is reasonable. Irvin got his snaps cut significantly, which was much needed. He was playing way too much. And yeah, I guess I'll take that as a win. Darrell Taylor picked up 17 snaps, so he's still just kind of picking through and getting whatever little pieces of garbage he can pick up from the rest of the guys. But, I mean, he's making the occasional play, right? So it's not a complete train wreck. I don't know. I'm trying to find the positives here, guys. It's not easy because these guys are not really getting to the quarterback. But Mafe, 23 snaps. I think that's a step in the right direction. And Irvin getting his snaps cut is great news because he was just playing too much. Okay, so inside linebacker, we actually had a little bit of a shakeup here because Brooks got hurt. And that forced Tanner Muse into action for part of this game. So Brooks played 43 snaps, which was about 2/3. And Tanner Muse got 19 snaps. And I'll tell you, 19 snaps, I didn't hate what I saw. I think Tanner Muse played all right. So I'm interested to see if he plays more, what he does. Because my initial assumption was that he was a little too small to play inside in this defense. But we might get a game or two to see if he can prove otherwise. Cody Barton played 56 snaps, which that's phase 1 of the main issue that I'm seeing here. Now, it's not a new problem. It's very much an old problem, but it remains a problem. Okay, cornerback. Here's the other part of the problem. Okay, so Woolen plays every snap, fine. Jackson plays every snap with Trey Brown out, which, sure, that's all you can do. Kobe Bryant plays 24 snaps as your nickel corner, so he plays like not even 40%. Teams have just kind of figured it out. Teams have figured it out. Force Barton onto the field, which the Niners did. He was on the field almost the whole game. Don't let the Seahawks go into nickel and dime. Just keep Kobe off the field. Have them go 2 corners and play in base, and you can eat them up. And I know they didn't eat us up in this game, but that had as much to do with Brock Purdy as anything else. So you can see it. You can see Kobe Bryant's snap count across these games just dropping and dropping and dropping. Teams have figured out Just run plays that force Kobe off the field and force Cody Barton onto it. The one game that didn't happen during these last 5 was the Rams game, and the Rams run 3 wide receiver like they don't really know how to do anything else other than run 3 wide. So that's different. But Kobe had his lowest share of snaps since week 1 when he got it benched after 2 plays, or whatever happened in that game. So, yeah, the blueprint is out, and it's pretty simple, and we've got 3 games left to find a counter. But yeah, this is very telling right here to me. Kobe Bryant on the field for 24 snaps and Cody Barton on the field for 56. And there's not a lot we can do about it because teams can force it by their formations and personnel. Ryan Neal played every snap with 64, as did Quandre Diggs, and the only other safety to play was Teez Tabor, who played 10. No Abram, which surprises me. I would like to see a little bit of Abram at this point over a guy like Tabor. At least Abram can do some stuff at a high level that I know of. And that's it for Snap Count Monday. There are some things here to like, but the big problem remains. Other offenses can dictate how much we can put a player like Cody Barton or Kobe Bryant out there. And when they force us to play Cody Barton a lot, bad things happen. I know in this game it wasn't terrible. The defense actually held up all right. But the big picture is teams have figured this out. And I don't see them unfiguring it out in the next 3 weeks. So good luck to us. That's all I can say, because Lofa Tatupu and Bobby Wagner, they're not walking through that door. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what y'all think.